So the general assumption is that Christians are a problem and that Christians are stupid, and if Christians were educated, they would think differently. Now, we could get defensive, amen? Don't, okay? Let's just have fun with it. That's what I'm going to suggest. And here's what I observed listening to the conversations. Number one, some people have no church experience at all. When asked, how do you learn about Christianity? I kid you not, many of them had never been to church. And what they did mention was the film, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Okay? Religious by Bill Maher, because we all know Bill Maher really nails Christianity and has done a lot of deep New Testament study. In addition, Steve Martin's Leap of Faith. If all you know about Christianity is what you see in a movie or on TV, you may not get the most accurate impression, amen? That's like if you live in another country and you're like, what do you know about America? Well, they make moonshine and catch gators with their hands. I seen it on the TV. That may not be the best impression, and we're not all just like that, right? Some of us are, but not all of us. Don't judge. And it was weird too, because in one of the transcripts, this one person said, my friend took me to church, and it really freaked me out, especially when they all did the Nazi salute. Different team, totally different team. But if you've never been in church and you don't know, and all you've seen is Hitler Youth rallies in community college on some black and white footage, and all of a sudden everybody's doing this, you're thinking, I gotta go, right? I know how this ends, not well. So what I want to say to you is many people have no church experience. How many of you have traveled to a foreign country and you had no idea what was happening? Right? It's nice to have a tour guide or a friend. Don't assume that people who are non-Christian have any real experience with Christians. Act as a friend, act as a tour guide. Don't get offended. Just like, okay, let me explain this. This is not a Hitler Youth rally. This means we like Jesus, okay? It's just a little different. Number two, some people don't know any Christian at all. I know this will shock you. So they mentioned, I think it was 17 people in the 8 focus groups, 2 hours of conversation. Hardly anyone really referenced a person that they knew that was a Christian. Who do you think they mentioned most frequently? Dr. Billy Graham, which I would say, yay, okay, yay. And he's with Jesus today having a really good day. In addition, here's everyone else mentioned. Television personalities, Creflo Dollar, Joel Osteen, Robert Schuller, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, Ted Haggard, the industrialist John Rockefeller, who died in 1937, politician Michelle Bachmann, 2 football players, Deion Sanders and Tim Tebow, political pastors Pat Robertson, Al Sharpton, and Jerry Falwell, who died in 2007, Fred Phelps of the Westboro Baptist Church, the guy who protests funerals. He's protested me. I put it on my LinkedIn. It's one of my favorite things. Jerry Jones, the pastor who wanted to burn the Quran, and James Austin, a Zen Buddhist neurologist. That's everybody they mentioned. How many of you, that wouldn't have been your list? Okay? So don't assume that anybody knows a Christian, and if all they see is the things on TV, they may not be getting the most accurate response. Some people had no idea what a Christian is. So looking at all the focus groups, here's everything that they call Christian. Jehovah's Witnesses, that's a cult. Wicca. That's witchcraft. That's not us. I'm not leaning over the plate and taking one for that team. We don't do, right? Libertarianism, which is a political ideology. Scientology. Huh? Right. It's a science fiction cult. Hinduism was listed. Hinduism. It believes in Buddhism was listed. It doesn't even believe in God. And the Mormons, which one guy called the evangelical Christians on bikes. Just delivering the news, okay? So some people never been to church. Some people don't know a Christian, and some people don't know what a Christian is. Furthermore, some people had bad religious parenting. When I talked to the woman who oversaw the focus groups, I asked her, I said, anything that sort of, stuck out to you? And she said, some of these people have very negative views of the church because of the parenting they experienced. So let's just be honest and say, let's let's take a look at ourselves as well. Some of the people in the focus groups, they had what I would call very religious upbringings. That's lots of rules and very little relationship. Parenting that is heavy on rules and light on relationship can lead to rebellion, right? Rules without relationship results in rebellion. Rules without relationship results in rebellion. And some of these people told very painful stories of how their parents would quote the Bible and beat them, literally beat them and assault them. And so what she said was, sometimes the way that religious people treat their kids causes their kids to grow up and to reject Christ and Christianity because all they hear is the voice of their parents and all they see is the character of mom and dad. So let's be careful if we're raising kids and grandkids that it's lots of love and lots of relationship, and the goal is to seek their good and not just to impose our will. Okay? And then number 5, some people had a bad experience with a Christian. Now, let's acknowledge this. The Bible talks a lot about Jesus' emotional life. The number one emotion mentioned of Jesus in the Bible is compassion. Okay? So if we believe in Jesus, we also need to believe in compassion. And compassion is, I want to understand what you've been through so that I can have some empathy, some sympathy, some understanding for your experience. And there were many of these. One was from a lesbian woman. She says, quote, "When I was about 14, I was walking down the street with my girlfriend holding hands. We stopped and sat down on a curb. We were having a discussion. I had a really tough upbringing." So 14-year-old girl, 8th or 9th grade, rough family, on a walk holding hands with her girlfriend, sits on a curb. Some lady came around the corner in a Suburban, was screaming out of her window, "You're going to hell," cursing at us every profanity, got about 2 inches with us, tried to run us over with the Suburban, yelling the F word, "You're disgusting," and all these things, "You're going to hell." Okay? So having compassion means, okay, that was your experience. If the closest you got to a Christian was someone cussing at you while they're trying to run you over in their car, I think it's reasonable to come to the conclusion that you're not a big fan of Christians. Okay? So let me say, I have said and done things that I regret, and I know we're not helpful or compassionate. And I would say on behalf of all Christians, we do believe that we are to be compassionate, and we are well aware of when we fall short. And some of us who are Christians, we have also had negative experiences with what I would call religious people. Okay? How many of you are Christians? You're like, I've met some people that, they say the name Jesus, but they don't look like him. We had an experience some years ago. Our kids were little. We took them to a state fair, ride the rides, see the exhibits, pet the animals, eat the junk food. I wore, I think, a hoodie and glasses and a hat because I just wanted to be left alone. And we made it through the fair, and I thought this was a good day, just hung out with the kids. And then as we're walking out, there are these flipper fry, turn or burn, I'll call them street evangelists. And not all of those people are bad, but these guys had really big signs. They were very aggressive. They had bullhorns, because nothing says I love you like a bullhorn. And I mean, they got Jesus and jihad all confused. I mean, they really did. And so they're screaming and yelling at people. I'm walking out holding the hands of the kids because it's a busy crowd and I don't want to lose my kids. My goal is always to end the day with the same number I started with. So we're trying to make our way through the crowd, and I got my head down. They recognize me. Okay? And then they start yelling at me. If you were a real Christian, you wouldn't be ashamed of the gospel. You'd be out here with us. You'd be doing da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, all of a sudden, now they're protesting me and my family. They circled me and my family. I got little kids. They've got big signs. They're grown men with bullhorns. And I've just learned, if you engage, you will enrage. So I just need to get the kids to the car. My kids are terrified. They're freaked out. They're getting screamed at, and they're surrounded by a mob of angry men with the bullhorn. They followed us all the way to our car, which was quite a walk. It was some blocks up. As I'm loading the kids in the car, they are screaming at my children. All right? We got in the car, shut the doors, drove away. I told the kids. Kids are like, "Who is that?" I said, "Those are the guys who murdered Jesus. That's not our team." Okay? So I told the kids, that's not our team. right? That what they're doing and how they're saying it, I mean, it is just not helpful to the cause, okay? And so we've all had some bad experiences. Some of us have been the bad experience. I've been guilty of that. Christians and non-Christians, we can agree on this point that if you are to communicate the good news of the love of Jesus, there needs to be a love for the person and some sort of compassion toward their experience.